All right, guys, so you guys have seen the back deck of my boat, what all is back there. So now we're gonna go to the front deck and we're gonna start exactly where the meat and potatoes are. We're gonna start in the middle locker and just show you exactly what is in there. Okay, so we go to the middle locker and bam, that is where the majority of my baits are. And I pretty much have stuff in here that I'm gonna use throughout the year. So we'll start over here with this bag. This bag right here is all my trailers. So if you go in here, I've got everything from, you know, little Flappy Daddies to little dippers, you know, just basically all trailer baits that I'm going to pretty much use for, you know, whether it be a swim jig trailer, whether it be a, you know, bladed jig trailer, pretty much trailers for all my moving baits, spinner baits, things like that. That is basically what is going to be in this bag, and it keeps it simple for me because then I don't have to dig through other bags to try to find the exact bait I'm looking for. I know that all my trailers are in one bag, so that makes it very simple for me. As you can see over here, I've got all my line, braided line, and basically everything from 9-pound test all the way up to 21-pound test, as far as fluoro and things like that. I also have a box here that pretty much has all of my little knick-knack stuff, so dies, wacky-o tools, rubber bands, you know, pig trailers, screw locks for when I'm trying to shake fish off, and then all my die stuff. So pretty much always have a box, super glue, with all that stuff in there as well. Next one we'll get to is this bag right here. As you can see, it is pretty much all creature baits. You know, creature baits and crawls are in this bag. So when you open this bag up, you're gonna see a lot of baits as far as baby brush hogs, biffle bugs, fighting frogs. I forget what the Stanford crawl is called, but got those in there. You know, D-bombs. I mean, pretty much everything in here that you possibly want as far as, you know, Strike King rage crawls, speed worms. So pretty much all of my stuff that I can use as far as for flipping and jigs and all that stuff. So that's a very big bag for me as far as having pretty much use out of it on a daily basis. This also is another one that's you know, a lot of my flip baits. So you know, I've got a lot of you know, creature baits in here as well. Everything from, you know, pretty much rage bugs, D-bombs, Z-crawls, pit boss. One bait that's been pretty, I can't get that zipper open. One bait that has been pretty major for me this year is the one that's right there on top, the J-bug. So a lot of baits like that I can flip around trees, bushes, things like that. Also use on wobble heads. I mean, a lot of these stuff I can use on wobble heads as well. So you know, very technique oriented is how I try to keep my bags going. Next one I have is pretty much a grub style bag. And when I say grub style, I mean like menaces and things like that. So this bag is pretty much all menaces. I mean, as you can see, it's all the way from little menaces all the way up to the mag menaces. So it's pretty much just a menace bag for me. And the reason I like this bag is, as far as this menace bag, is I like to have those menaces because they're so versatile, whether it's punching mats, flipping reeds, cattails, putting it on trailers for a swim jig, a bladed jig, things like that. It is a very versatile bait, so I really like that bag as well. Over here you'll see I've got some knick-knack Ziploc bags. These are pretty much swim bait hooks and then different types of swim baits. This is a big swim bait bag. We'll get to that in just a second, but I've got all my swim baits over here. So just you know, whether it be rage swimmers or something like that, Kitex, you know, different things like that. I have all my swim baits pretty much on this side, and this one is all my big swim baits. So if you open this one up, right off the bat, you've got the mag drafts. You got, you know, some of these 3/16 Lure Company swim baits. Probably need to retire that one, but you know, pretty much just you know, all the big swim baits that you'll go throw, you know, for looking for that big bite. And you know, a lot of times I'll keep this bag out of my boat, but I should probably keep it in more, especially during tournaments, because if you get into a situation where you kind of have 5 and they're kind of 5 that is a decent limit, you want to go search for that big bite, and a swim bait is a big time way to be able to go get that huge bite that you may need for that kicker fish. So this is a pretty important bag, and I probably need to leave it in my boat a lot more often than I do. All right, this box is all topwater stuff. So frogs, buzz baits, whopper ploppers, you know, all that stuff is pretty much in there. So I have it organized pretty much with my buzz baits. I like to only throw like a 3/8 and a half. All my whopper ploppers, you know, I got one big sexy dog in here. And my frogs. I mean, that's pretty much my topwater box. That's how I like to keep it. The next box I have is a little bit more topwater. And this is poppers and sexy dogs, spooks. And then I forget what these are called, but I've thrown those in Florida a bunch. I should throw them in Texas a lot more, but I kind of don't. But that's a pretty cool bait actually, especially for bedding bass and things like that. But another topwater box. Next box is my trap box, my lipless crankbait. So as you can see, I pretty much have all natural stuff. I mean, chrome colors and natural shad colors and things like that, blackbacks, bluebacks, things like that. And I've got everything from quarter, half to 3/4 ounce. And I used to carry like 100 of these lipless cranks with me, 100 square bills. I've really narrowed it down to this. This is all the traps that I'm bringing with me. And basically what I'm doing is if there's a certain time of year that I need reds, I will throw some reds in this box. But otherwise I try to keep everything pretty simple and down to a minimum. So the next box I got is my jerkbait box, and this is probably the most jerkbaits I've ever had in my boat. You can actually check out the transition season episode, and I'm pointing up there because I'm gonna put that card up there. And this is my jerkbait box. I hate throwing a jerkbait, but when they're on it, especially in Minnesota, is a time that I really like to throw these. So, I mean, a lot of times this box could probably come out for me, but I do like it in Minnesota. And as you can see, I'm kind of going with just natural colors. If you haven't noticed a theme, I'm sticking to natural colors that way. Basically, it's stuff that you use every day. I found that if I had a ton of colors, whether it be hard baits or soft baits, there was just 5 or 6 different colors that I never used, or if I did use them, it was only certain times of the year. So I'm trying to keep those out of my boat as much as possible, keep that weight out of my boat. That way my boat can run it at the optimal level that it can. Next box here is my square bill box. And I've got everything from big square bills down to little bitty square bills. So as you can see, I also got some L baits, some swanks and things like that. So this is pretty much all my square bill box. I mean, you know, once again, I used to carry 100 of these. There's certain colors that I used all the time, and you can see there's a lot of chartreuses in there. There's some natural shag colors. That's what I'm going to stick with. Now we're getting to another crankbait box. This is going to be a lot of my 3XDs, 5XDs, flat sides, things like that, you know, mid-range stuff, you know, 8 to 12 foot type stuff. That is what this box is basically about. It is not a square bill box, but it's not a deep, like a extra deep, which is the box we'll get to next. It's not an extra deep box. It's kind of that mid-range area. And then of course you've got you know, my deep stuff, 8XDs, 6XDs, 10XDs, dredgers, clouds. That's pretty much what's in this box. So I mean, as you can see, I've got my 10XDs up here, 8XDs, 6XDs, some dredgers mixed in there, dredgers down here, and then I've got some clouds in here as well. So this is my extra deep crank box. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Next time we're gonna go to the starboard side of my boat. That'll include those 2 right lockers. And we'll be done pretty much with what is in my boat and what's in the bags. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, comment below. We'll see you next time.